It's your boy Mullah. This we got that fire. So you back, Skip? Are you back? Because you said you picked him for these two games, but is you back on all the way, or you gonna wait till like if we tied up and then you just gonna Clippers? Let's go. We ready now. All right. Let's see. Let's see, Skip.
I thought in both series against Dallas and now against the Jazz, he went into that load management thing that's in the back of his mind where I got to save myself. I got to save. And they got down 0-2 at home to Dallas and now 0-2.
Well, Skip, you mentioned it, though. But you look at the first half, what he's doing. He's expending a lot of energy trying to control Donovan Mitchell.
Well, this time
so
he did.
So PG's like, okay, I got it. Once they had the thing under control, he said, well, now it's my turn to go to work. And you see him took over the second half.
Okay. I still believe in the Clippers. I believe they're going to win this series in 6 games. I believe they can beat the Phoenix Suns in the conference finals. And now, all of a sudden, the East looks as wide open as ever because we don't know about Kyrie. We don't know about James Harden. I don't even know about Blake Griffin. We'll get to that in just a moment here. I'm not sure about any of that. So is it Milwaukee? Is it the Sixers? Will the Hawks make a desperate rally?
Who knows?
It could be anybody's ball game in the East. And it's why I love the Clippers in the West and in the finals. But here's the point. The Clippers have this thing in them. They have to do it the hardest way. So tonight, if they fall behind 3-1, maybe they feel like we need to be down 3-1, where we have to fight back from 3-1 down. I sure hope not, because that will take 3 more years off my life. And they are, again, the most frustrating team to watch. Again, I'm glad nobody has a tape of me during the Clippers games, because they drive me way crazier than the Cowboys have ever driven me, because they do dumb stuff. They miss easy shots. Kawhi missed a layup in the first quarter. He just got to the basket and just laid it up too hard and it went completely over the rim.
Right.
But then he redeemed himself by turning back into Kawhi Leonard. Here is the key to me. Here's why I believe the Clippers will slowly but surely show you they're better than the Jazz. What did we see in game number 1 at Utah? Well, the Clippers came out and just took the game over, and they led by 13 at half, and they did not play well in the third quarter, but they fought back in the fourth quarter and had a last shot to tie at the end of regulation, right? What did we see in game number 2? From the mid-third quarter to the mid-fourth quarter.
With Fundrise, you can...
The Los Angeles Clippers went on a 46-23 run. That's hard to do at Utah. It's a hard place to play. To beat them by 23 points over a whole quarter stretch, 46-23.
What are you saying,
to go ahead
they
by
gonna
2
do it
points
tonight?
on a big Reggie Jackson,
And if they don't
Mr.
do it
June,
tonight, you done with them?
shot, and I thought,
throwing
we
them
got
shoes
them.
away.
We don't got them.
You gonna
Because
put
the
some more
Clippers
LeBrons
proceeded
on?
to
What's
miss
next?
9 straight shots, including 7 threes, and you know the end of that story. The game fell apart. Then what did I see on Saturday evening? They won that game by 26 points.
Right.
So I just showed you 3 games. There are big, long stretches in all 3 games when you say, well, the Clippers are just a little better than the Utah Jazz.
Well, Skip, when I said they didn't come out with the intensity, if you look at it, they had an 8-0 lead. Then all of a sudden they let Reggie Jackson get off 2 threes that he's uncontested. They start letting guys get uncontested shots. That's the thing that they normally are more engaged than what they are. They know the paint is protected. So look, you can hug up a little tighter because if they get past you, they're not going all the way to the rim. They're not trying to see Rudy Gobert there. Reggie Jackson walks into 2 threes, the next thing you know, Skip, we got a tie ball game. And so now it changed the whole complexity of the game, because the Clippers like, oh, we right back. But Skip, if Reggie Jackson and Paul George are going to go 11 or 16 from the 3, the Jazz got their work cut out for them. Okay. And another thing, you said the Jazz shot the highest percentage from 3-point this year as a team.
They did.
Well, if you let them make 19, that percentage, because they don't normally shoot that many. Well, if they get the number 1 percentage shooting team, they make 19. What is their percent going to be? That's going to be well over 50%.
Okay, look, this was a microcosm of the year, what happened on Saturday night, because both teams made 19 threes.
Right.
But Utah took
44.
8 more than the Clippers did.
Right.
So the Clippers wound up shooting 53%, and your team wound up shooting 43%, which is not bad.
Right.
But still, my team makes them more consistently.
Utah needs to make more threes than the Clippers, because the Clippers going to shoot a higher percentage. Well, if they're making the same amount and they're shooting a high percentage, what does that tell you? But I'm going to trust Donovan Mitchell. I'm going to trust because he gave somebody a thumbs up. I don't know if it was D. Wade. I don't know if it was something, his mom or somebody in the crowd. He gave the thumbs up, said, no, I'm good. I'm good. And he said, there was no sense in him going back in the ball game down 16 in a situation like that.
Yeah.
So I agree with it. But they're going to have to come out. The Clippers understand that, Skip, their back's against the wall. They couldn't go down 3-0, Skip.
Could not. Unless that's just how you think.
You don't want to Skip, because we've never seen a team come back from 3-0.
Now, for my X factor tonight and going forward.
Never,
There's one player on my team who's been MIA for much of the playoffs, many games through the playoffs, but especially for these Utah games. He is the player I trust the most to make a big shot. And he is 31 years of age, and he's been in this league for 10 years. So he's been there and done all the above. And his name is Marcus Morris Sr.
What?
He struggled the first 3 games.
Struggled is to put it mildly. Marcus Morris Sr. in the first 3 games against Utah is 1 of 16 from 3. He is the real pandemic key, has been Marcus Morris.
Right.
1 of 16, he went 1 for 9 in that game 1 at Utah, 0 for 5 in the next game, and then he decided on Saturday night, maybe I shouldn't shoot very many threes. He tried 2 and missed both of them. 1 for 16. I'm going to remind everybody, during the regular season, the Clippers led the league in three-point shooting percentage, and leading the Clippers at 47% of his makes. That's almost half of the shots that he took from 3 was Marcus Morris Sr. Against Dallas, he was up and down, but overall he was 17 of 38. So he shot 45% overall against Dallas. And in that game 3, from that one far corner over there, right in front of the Dallas bench, he hit 3 in a row in the fourth quarter that just sealed their fate.
Game 3 and 7 justified you getting the 4 years, $64 million because
that is correct.
Even though Kawhi was sensational in Game 7, Skip, without Marcus Morris, you're not winning that game. Even though Kawhi is playing out of his mind.
And I remind everybody, he was a Knick last year. I'm sorry, 2 years ago. And I think the Knicks have missed him because he's a big shot taker and maker until Utah. He has to snap out of it. History would scream that tonight he will snap out of it. I trust him because I know they trust him. And I know his brother will tell him, his twin brother obviously plays for the Lakers, Markieff. He'll tell him, as he did before Game 7 against the Mavericks, you're that guy. You've done this before. Just shoot it like you mean it.
Yeah.
Well, if he will tonight, and they start to fall, when his shots start to fall, you better look out because this team is lethal.
Well, maybe, Skip, they flip roles. Maybe Reggie Jackson is that guy now. Because we look at the last 3 games of the Dallas series and the first 3 games of this series, he's been sensational.
He has been sensational to the point that he has moved Patrick Beverley out of the starting lineup and barely hanging on in the rotation.
Right.
But I want to compliment Pat Bev because Saturday, Ty Lue used him in strategic stretches to just bother Donovan Mitchell, just to nag him, just to annoy him, just to irritate him,
Hit
just
him
to
with the elbow.
hit him and clap and pat him on the butt.
Got a couple turnovers from Joe Ingles.
Just do some things that get
not
under
all
people's
Skip. Come on
skin.
now.
And so I appreciate that Patrick Beverley is still barely in the rotation, and I hope he gets some reps tonight on Donovan Mitchell just to bother him.
Skip, Reggie Jackson only took 8 shots. He made 6 of them. He was 5 or 6 from 3.
That'll work.
So even though Marcus Morris Sr. might be struggling, Skip, he's doing more than making up the slack because you think about it. Even there were games when he got them back in game 2.
So what's
Paul
that?
George and Kawhi was struggling.
17?
It was Reggie Jackson 16 points in the third quarter that really kept them close. So they can make that run. He's been playing phenomenal. The question is, Skip, moving forward, do you trust Reggie Jackson to keep playing the way he's playing over the last 6 games, and Paul George? And I think we're going to talk about Paul George. Do you expect to see another performance like this? Now, what we saw Saturday was the Paul George in Indy when he was going head-to-head with LeBron when LeBron was with the Heat, okay?
If you wear glasses or contacts, you must see this. A Japanese Nobel Prize.
Let me discuss him briefly. Paul George. This is my gut feeling as a Clippers supporter about Paul George. I told you all through the regular season, I was seeing a different guy. I was seeing a guy who grew up and faced up to his demons that he faced
So
in
you
the
think they
bubble
over with, Skip?
when he got ridiculed for saying that he was mentally crumbling and needed help. And the point is, through the regular season, he took so much verbal abuse from so many. And I just hope the Clippers get to the Suns because his number one tormentor was Devin Booker. Am I right?
Yep.
So I want to see Pandemic P versus Book in the conference finals because it would be epic. It would be legendary.
So what
And
they
my money
beefing?
will be on Paul George to play complimentary star basketball. That's all he's ever been is the complimentary star. He is the 1A to Kawhi. He is the star to the superstar. And he has lived up to his billing in this series and in these playoffs because I'm going to remind everybody, just in the fourth quarter of the 10 playoff games they've played so far, he's a plus 33. That's pretty sensational. In the fourth quarter, he's shooting 51% and he's averaged 8 points and 3 rebounds. 4 times in 10 games, he scored in double figures in the fourth quarter. And once again, in the fourth quarter Saturday, he was very good. Kawhi was a little better, but the two of them are hard to beat. If he can just live up to the co-star role, I got you. That's all he has to do. And again, even the one game where he shot 4 for 17, he came up big. He scored 13 in the fourth quarter. So to me, I trust Paul George.
Well, Skip, in the first half on Saturday, Kawhi was 4 of 12. He only had 10 points. And Reggie Jackson and PG was 8 of 12 from the 3. They had 34 combined points. So it was really them that spotted them to this lead because Kawhi didn't have it going in the first half. Now, he came on like gangbusters, like we know Kawhi, because we've seen him do this before, Skip. But Reggie Jackson and Paul George kept him ahead in the first half. Reggie Jackson's been some... I mean, now, Skip, he pulling up. I'm like, okay, that's Steph. That's going in. Now he shoots it. I'm thinking it's going to go in.
A lot of swishing.
Ain't no rattling around.
They're clean.
Yeah, and deep.
And deep. And it's just
I'm like, when did Reggie Jackson turn into Steph Curry?
I agree. In the end.
Because, remember, he had fallen out of the rotation.
He had. No,
for shooting too much.
For
shooting too much.
Rondo was getting run.
Now Rondo's like a forgotten man. I don't even. Is he on the team? Oh, he didn't even play again? Oh, that's my guy, playoff Rondo.
And the thing is, what makes it so, well, maybe Skip, they got him all the way at the bottom. Normally, he'd be, okay, coach, they got Coffee and Cousin, the Farrell. I'm like, hold on. How Rondo get way down there? They put it at the end of the bench.
It's by alphabetical order, but that's okay.
No.
I think he belongs there.
No, Skip, you got to let Rondo. You told me you play out Rondo.
I don't get it, but do I still
you good with it now?
Do I believe there's a role for him somewhere along this run? Because it's a long, hard stretch here.
It might be against, you never know. It might be against Phoenix. It might be games, if they can stretch it out, it might be a game 6 or game 7. But, I'm sure they're thinking.
Remember, he does not like Chris Paul. We're going to talk about Chris Paul in a moment because Chris Paul just had a series of
Chris Paul playing out of his mind.
Rondo, remember the spitting incident at Staples early, where we go
last year.
Was two years back.
2 years ago, yeah.
Well, maybe they're saving Rondo for Chris Paul to antagonize him.
Get up on the Chris Paul
right? Yeah. So here we go with Kawhi tonight. It has to be his night because when he comes out like he's got some fresh legs under him, he is hard to deal with because his mid-range is absolutely devastating.
Yeah, but Bogdanovic got to give us more, Skip.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here.
There you have it, guys. I still got the Clippers tonight. I got the Clippers for the whole series. If they take care of their business, and if Spider a little hurt, I got the Clippers in 6, y'all. So y'all heard it first. It's your boy Mullah. This week got that 5, and I'll be back with another. I'm out of here.